Hey yogis, Latoya here with more education and inspiration for you. Today I wanted to talk to those of you who have someone in your life that you miss. And you're the type of person who typically can think of a person or have a dream about a person, or just like literally just call on them with your mind and they respond. But with this particular individual, you're not hearing anything back. You're not making a connection, and you can't understand why they are immune to your powers. Because some of us do have that power. We have superpowers of communicating with people telepathically. I am one of those people. If I am thinking very long about a person, 9 times out of 10, they'll contact me. Usually if I have a dream about an individual, I'm pretty much guaranteed to hear from them. Or like if I'm walking around and I see someone who looks like that person, and I know that I will be hearing from that individual. So I have that power of communicating with people telepathically. But every now and then there comes a time where there's a person that I encounter that seems to be just immune to these powers that I have. And I'm sure those of you out there who are listening or watching this video have had a similar experience. So I am here today to explain to you exactly what is happening. There are 3 major things that I'm going to focus on today that could potentially block a person from feeling or receiving messages from you or feeling you energetically. One of the major reasons, or the primary reasons, that a person is not feeling your energy is that they are not living in their truth. They are a person who lives a deceptive life. They're a liar. They're just a person who's not tapped in, tuned in, turned on in any type of way. And they have trained themselves to shut themselves off from the spirit world in order to not have to grapple with the feelings of guilt or shame that is emerging from them living this lifestyle that is not allowing them to live in their truth. And they've also blocked themselves off from their own spirits, and they've blocked themselves off in a lot of ways from themselves to be able to continue to live a life that is uncomfortable and inauthentic. They can't be connected spiritually with anyone, including themselves. So these type of individuals will not receive messages from you because they wake up and go to sleep every day with a block. And that block is there to protect their ego from the reality of this life that they're living that is not healthy spiritually. So those type of individuals will not receive messages from you. They won't feel anything because they have trained themselves not to feel anything. That's just part of their experience. Another barrier is drugs and addictions. And when I say drugs, I don't necessarily mean like illicit drugs or street drugs. Even those drugs that have been prescribed by a psychiatrist can block us off from feeling things. If you have an individual that you're interested in connecting with, and they are suffering from depression or anxiety or anything like that, and they're taking a prescription medication in order to manage their condition, then they are going to be cut off from you energetically because those substances prohibit or restrict energy. So for example, a person who is diagnosed as anxious and given a prescription to deal with the anxiety is given something that is intended or designed to take them out of a heightened state. It's designed to numb or dull really intense feelings or emotions and to make everyday experiences a little bit more manageable. And that's great in terms of their anxiety management. But when it comes down to electrical impulses or energetic impulses from within themselves and from the outside, they're going to be restricted from that. They're going to be blocked by that. There's going to be a veil there that was created by this drug. The same thing for drugs that are intended to bring you out of a depressed state. Okay, so in a depressed state, there is some suppression spiritually. There is some suppression that is happening. So these medications that are designed to make you feel less depressed aren't dealing with the spiritual aspect of whatever's going on with you that has you in this depressed state, leads you to not feel the effects of this suppressed spirit but that doesn't mean that suddenly your spirit is not suppressed, if that makes any sense. Just think of it this way, like if you break your leg and you're rushed to the hospital and they give you morphine, you may not feel that your leg is broken anymore, but that doesn't mean that your leg is no longer broken. It's broken, but you don't feel the pain from it. The same thing with these medications that are used to address like depression. So a person who is taking medications for depression may feel like they are no longer depressed, but there is still some suppression spiritually with them, and they're not going to be able to be tapped in to these energetic impulses from within themselves or from outside of themselves. And it's going to be really difficult to reach. It's going to be almost impossible to contact them. And then also you have your illicit drugs. They want to feel a different type of way. They want to control their experience of emotions and feelings. And a person who is in that much control, saying, I want to use some substance to feel a particular way, is not going to be open to the natural flow of energy that one must be open to feel the effects of a person who's attempting to contact them telepathically. So those type of individuals, be it a prescribed drug or an illicit drug or alcohol or anything like that, are going to be more difficult to reach telepathically. And that might be a reason why you're thinking about this person, you're calling them with your mind, and they ain't hearing you. They have to be in a state where they are receptive to this free-flowing energy, and sometimes alcohol or these drugs can restrict that. Okay, so another reason why your energy may not be being felt by an individual may be just straight up disbelief or rejection in the spiritual world. So a person who is in disbelief about the concept of spirit, who is in disbelief or rejects the idea of energies, who rejects the idea of telepathy, who rejects the idea of clairvoyance, who rejects anything like that. A person who is very logically minded and grounded in reality is not going to be as sensitive to the energies from the spiritual world as a person who is open to it is. Every now and then you will be able to make it through. You will be able to get through to these type of people, but for the most part, if they have built up these barriers, if they have grounded themselves in the belief that these things don't exist, that is impossible for someone to speak with them who is not physically in front of them, they will not be as receptive to that energy, and it may be difficult, if not impossible, to reach this individual. All right, so long story short, yogis, just because you are not able to reach a person doesn't mean that there's something going on with you and your spiritual strength or your abilities. And it also doesn't mean necessarily that this person didn't care for you or didn't have a good experience with you or wouldn't like to hear from you. I just touched on a few reasons why that happens. There are many other reasons why that I can't get into. I could talk about this for an hour, but just basically just understand that a person who is receptive to that type of energy will receive it, and a person who is not won't. They can be consciously not receptive to it, i.e. just rejecting the idea overall, or they could be inadvertently rejecting of it and taking different substances that are blocking them off, or living their lives in an inauthentic way that closes them off to these deeper spiritual experiences. I hope that was helpful. I'll see you all next week on Saturday. I'm here every Saturday with a new video for you. You can find me on blackgirl.yogabody on YouTube and on IG. So tune in. Peace, yogis.